What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight... Well, okay. She's been on the channel a number of times with various bands, but she's never been on the channel as a solo act. So, yeah, this would be a debut. Alright, making her debut on the channel tonight, we have Fuki. Yes, indeed. How about that? Fuki making her solo debut on the channel. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbity boobity bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Krauser, and Krauser wanted to see me react to this song by Fuki called Sail On My Love. Now, have I heard this song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard this song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a minute here, hold on a second, this sounds familiar, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Okay, this was posted on a private Mega Drive. So there's no actual poster. I'm assuming it's on Krauser's private Mega Drive, I'm assuming. But I'm not gonna be sharing the link below, so take it for what it's worth. And because it was on a private Mega Drive, I have absolutely no idea how many views were there. So I don't know if it'll get you there or not. So I'm not sure, so I'm not gonna say whether it does or not. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will not be down in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Fuki Fest 2024, Sail On My Love live. Cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
God, this song is video game written all over it. song screams video game. It absolutely does. I can see this being used in a RPG or even a side scroller like I don't know. There's a whole bunch. Side scrollers are seeing a serious rekindling. Like they are absolutely being brought back hardcore. I can see it being used for one of the new side scrollers. Absolutely. Capcom, here we go. I can see this being used in a ton of different ways within video games. It's got that upbeat, fast tempo type of style. Majorly chord or major chord oriented. It's got that major feel. Yeah, I could totally see this being used in a video game. It's not bad. It sounds good. I got no issue with the song as a whole. But is it up my alley? Is it my style? Not really. If I'm being honest, it's fine. It's just fine. It's not for me. I'm just not personally. I'm not feeling it. But I mean, overall, it sounds fine. It sounds good. As far as the live performance goes, I can't help but notice the usage of backing track, which I got no issue with. I have no problem with bands or artists using backing track. It's fine. As long as bands are honest about it and bands don't try to pretend like their other musicians are on stage singing the parts when they're clearly not. Now, I did see a microphone set up in front of the keyboard player, and that kind of worried me, but I haven't seen the keyboard player get on that mic yet. And the keyboard player has not, made it a point to get his mouth on the mic and, vocalize or quote unquote vocalize. So there's no deception there. There's nobody on a mic pretending to be singing along with her to do the harmony. So I got no problem with it. I got no issue with it. I know a lot of people in the past have said, and have asked me, how do you feel about backing tracks? I got no issue with them. I've been in bands where we've utilized them. I got no issue with them whatsoever, as long as you're not going to sit there and try to insult the intelligence of your audience by pretending to, sing when you're really not. You're lip syncing, So I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. But that's not happening here. So yeah, so far everything sounds fine. Everything sounds good. Am I enjoying it? No, not really. Not particularly. But I'm finding no fault in anything that's being done. So let's keep going. There's vocals going off, no one's singing, but they're not pretending. So I got no issue with it. Keyboard solo, alright. Okay, harmonizing. Really quick, I want to check something here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He is playing an 8-string guitar. I thought that neck looked a little thick. I thought that neck looked a little wide. I was thinking at first maybe a 7, but it looks even wider than a 7. So I just had to check. Let me double check, make sure I'm not wrong. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sure enough, 8-string guitar. Good for him. Good for him. It sounds good. I got no issue with it. I just thought every time they would show him, I'd look at the neck and I'm like, that looks wide. It looks a little wide. Even for a 7-string, that looks wide. That's cool. I just had to check that. I was just about to say, don't do it for too long. Get that bond of men back. He did. He did, so it's all good. Oh, now you're just showing off. So wide. Quote unquote last song of the set. They'll be back. Make a lot of noise. They'll be back in about 20 to 30 seconds and they'll do some more for you. Uh-oh. Now look, if you don't keep applauding, they're not going to come out. You guys, look, you want them to come out and play some more. You gotta let them know. Yeah, you gotta keep the noise going. You guys will know the rules. This was interesting. Okay, let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Fuki with Sail on My Love. This was a request from Krauser. Okay, before I get to the score, odds are there's a really good chance you guys are watching this on Patreon right now. I don't know if this is going to get blocked or not. I know that whenever we use videos that were not found on YouTube, when they're on like private mega drives or, you know, private Google drives, or whatever the case may be, there's usually about an 80% chance that this is going to get blocked. So if that is the case, I'm sorry, but I got to do what I got to do, and I got to protect the channel. So if I can't post it up on YouTube, then I'll post it up on Patreon. So odds are there's a very good chance you're watching it here, and if that is the case, I do apologize, but I got to do what I got to do. Having said that, let's get to the score on this, because honestly, there's not a lot to talk about that I didn't talk about during the course of the reaction. So let's start with the score first. Believe it or not, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give that a 7.8. Yep. 7.8. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, the 7.8. What does that mean? Well, A 7.8 will translate to a really good skill rating. So overall, I think this was a really good presentation. It would also get 4 to 5 stars and a B+ letter grade. So there you go, 7.8, really good skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. I said it earlier during the course of the reaction. This really wasn't my thing. I really wasn't a huge fan of this on a personal level. It sounds very video game-ish, maybe anime-ish. It sounds like it could be, an opening theme for an anime of some kind. Very easily could see that being done. Video games, I talked at length about the type of video games I could see it being used in. It's very upbeat. It's very poppy sounding. As far as the songwriting direction goes, its chordal progression goes, its line use, the usage of the melodic lines and the harmonic lines. If you were to play this entire song on a piano, it would be just absolute bubblegum pop without question. The usage of the instrumentation, it helps. It absolutely helps. Having the bass player and the guitar player utilized the way that they were utilized, playing the lines that they were playing, it absolutely helps. It makes the pill a little easier to swallow. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I loved this. No, I did not. This is not my cup of tea, guys. Just flat out, it's not. It's done well, sure. For the style of music that it is, the songwriting was done well. Everything made sense. Everything flowed well, like from a chordal progression standpoint. I had no issues there. Transitions all made sense. Progression made sense. The melodic lines, harmonic lines all made sense. I got no issue with anything there. It all sounded good. Like, for what it is, it sounded just fine. It didn't sound like there was anything wrong. Just not for me. As far as the musicianship goes, this is really where the score came up. If I were to give the song, just the songwriting on its own, if I were to give it a score, we'd be in the high sixes, probably 6.8, 6.7, 6.8, somewhere in there. It was pretty good. Like I said, I didn't hear anything wrong. I wasn't blown away by it. Now, as far as the instrumentation goes, the musicianship goes, this really helped. The musicians playing their instruments, playing the song, they all did a fine job. Keyboardist, guitar player, really nice work. Whether they be on their own or in tandem, doing those harmonic solos, really nicely done. It was tight, it was clean, it was well executed. Same thing for the bass player. I couldn't help but notice the bass player going up on the neck, doing those counter melodic lines. Very well done and very tastefully done. There were a couple of times, and I even vocalized it once that I know of, where I said, okay, you've been up for a while, don't lose the bottom end. And as I was saying it, he went back down to the bottom end again and filled up the sound. So I was really grateful for that. He never overstayed his welcome up on the neck, and his playing was clean. No issues there. Drumming, very straight ahead. Nothing all that fancy on the drumming end, but what the drummer played, again, clean, tight, accurate. I had no issue with it whatsoever. I made mention of the track usage. There was obviously backing track being utilized for the vocals, maybe some orchestrations as well, but I think the keyboardist covered that himself, so I'm not 100% sure about that. But backing vocals were clearly done by track. I have no issue with it. I have absolutely no problem with it. And like I said, I'm just going to retouch on this very briefly. I have no problem with bands utilizing backing track as long as they're honest about it. If they have, if they have musicians on microphones pretending to sing and it's inconsistent and you can tell it's a lip sync job, then I have a problem with it. I absolutely have a problem with that. But as long as they're being honest about it, no issues. And I got no issues with the backing track usage here. As a matter of fact, gotta give Fuki credit. When the backing track kicked in with the harmonized vocals, her live singing has to match up with those, because here's the thing. if I'm not saying there was, but if somebody had been out of tune, who's to blame? The track? Yeah, right. You're gonna blame a backing track for being out of tune when there's a live vocalist? Nice try. Nice try. And the funny thing is, I've worked with vocalists who have said that. who has said, oh, the backing track must be out of tune. Really? How do you spell delusional again? No, but in this case, I didn't hear anything out of sync. I didn't hear anything out of tune. Everything lined up. So great job on Fuki's part being able to sing along with backing track as accurately and cleanly as she did. Her vibrato. Yeah. Can we be honest? It's wide. It's wide. Hey, boy, that. Woo. Yeah. Listen to that long enough, it's going to make your teeth rattle. I mean, that's just her style. That's just how she does things. And I get it, but man, it can be rough to listen to on occasion, man. At times, it can be a bit much. And honestly, as we got towards the end of the song, it did start to wear on me a little bit. And the funny thing is, I've heard other things that she's done where her vibrato is much tighter, much closer, not as broad. And it personally, I think it sounds better when she keeps it a little tighter, a little closer, not nearly as wide. But it is what it is. You know, it's her thing, it's her style. And since this is her band, I guess she can do whatever the heck she wants. But it's just, again, it's just another factor that for me had a hard time listening to. So you take the musicianship from all of the musicians on stage, bass player, guitar player, keyboards, and drums. And we're going to go from a 6.8 to up to about a 7.5. Yeah, that sounds about right. But I gave this a 7.8. So how did we go from a 7.5 to a 7.8? If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you know what I'm going to say. I've literally said this thousands of times. So say it with me, kids.
Sing it out one time.
A live show can help your score or it can hurt your score. In this case, it did help. It helped a little bit. It wasn't a huge help like I've seen from other bands and other performances, but it did help a little bit. Let's go on the checklist. Let's see how many check boxes she got. Stage presence, check. Yeah, they look like musicians. They don't look like roadies. They look like performers. So that's a good start. Stage energy, I'm going to give it a check. Fuki did all of it. Fuki was the only one really moving around the stage. Everybody else just kind of stayed in their own little place. And I get it. It's her solo project. She's the star. I understand. And there are a lot of acts that do that where they will tell them, and I've been there and done that, where we were told, don't move. I hate it, man. And I've walked out of gigs over it. I have. Because I'll tell them, listen, you hired me to do a specific job. I get it, but that's not who I am. And I told you when you hired me, this is who I am. This is what I do. And you want me to do the exact opposite. One of two things is going to happen. You're going to pay me more money or you're going to find someone else. I'm fine either way. It doesn't make any difference to me. Usually they'll hand me my walking papers and I'll go find another gig. But there have been a couple of times where they said, well, how much more do you want? And I'll say, I need this much more to literally stand there and be a statue and go against my nature. And believe it or not, they'll cut me a check and say, here you go. I guess because, time is precious and they don't have a whole lot of it. So it's usually when those last minute gigs that happens. But maybe that was the case here. And more than likely it was. Her management and her production company, they hired these musicians and they said, look, here's the deal. She's the star. Don't steal the spotlight from her. You're going to get your chance as the solo. That's cool, but stand still. And like I said, I've been in that position. I know it happens in a firsthand account. So it could have been that case. Then again, maybe that's just who they are. I don't know, but the only one who was creating any stage energy whatsoever was Fuki, but it was being done. So I will give it the check. Interaction, stage interaction. Unfortunately, no, didn't really see any. I never saw anybody interact with anybody. So that box goes unchecked, unfortunately. Now the big one, crowd interaction. Did we have any? Oh yes, we had some. Before the song even started, we had some. And I couldn't help but notice a couple of times throughout the song, she would call out to the crowd and point to the crowd, and she would get the response, which was nice. So there's definitely crowd interaction there. So that box gets checked. Let's see, showmanship. I'll give it the check. I'll give it the check. She put on a great visual show. She did. All right, maybe great's a bit of a stretch. She put on a really good visual show, but it still gets checked. Production, no, none. There was no production, but that's okay. Production's always been bonus points anyway, unless you're a production-based fan and you rely on your production to take care of your live show. If that's the case, your production better be on point. This is not that case, so no production, but that's okay. It would be bonus points anyway. So she checked 4 out of the 5 boxes, including the main one. So the big one I really look for, crowd interaction. That's really the biggest one to me. So that's how we're coming from, like I said, 7.5, maybe 7.6, somewhere in there, up to a 7.8. The live show did help. It did help a little. More could have been done on that side, but it was enough to bump it up 0.2, 0.3. So 7.8, that's where we're at, and that's where we're going to stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have a 7.8, which is a really good skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Take your pick. I don't care. Whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, then I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.